Hello everyone and welcome to the channel. Let's get right into it. We're all chasing the same thing, the next multi-bagger, the next stock that doesn't just beat the market, but fundamentally changes our portfolio. For the past few years, the white whale of that chase has had a name, Moderna, a company that went from a clinical stage question mark to a global household name, delivering a staggering one, 500% return in a single year. Investors have been desperately looking for Faye next Moderna Faye ever since. And that search is leading many to a new high-stakes battlefield, the intersection of us innovation and a new aggressive class of Chinese biotech challengers. Today, we're doing a deep dive, a head-to-head. We're pitting 4 of the established US biotech giants against 4 of the most ambitious and frankly dangerous Chinese contenders. The question is simple. If you're going to make a bet for the next decade, who do you bet on? This isn't about a hot tip. This is about a framework. This is about understanding the war before you pick a soldier. So, let's set the stage. On one side, you have the US giants. These are the 800-pound gorillas. They are, for the most part, slow-moving, deeply entrenched battleships. They have global distribution, ironclad patent protection, armies of lawyers and massive lobbying power in Washington. They are defined by their cash flow, their R&D budgets that dwarf the GDP of small countries, and their strategy of innovation by acquisition. They don't just innovate, they buy innovation. Their risk isn't failure. Their risk is stagnation. Their risk is patent cliffs where a blockbuster drug goes generic and $10 billion in revenue evaporates overnight. On the other side, you have the Chinese challengers. These are the speedboats. They are fueled by a massive, newly wealthy domestic market of 1.4 billion people, all demanding better healthcare. Now, they are supported by a government that has explicitly named biotechnology as a core pillar of its Faye Made in China 2025 Faye Plan, which means a fire hose of state capital, regulatory fast-tracking, and a national mandate to succeed. But they are also haunted by immense risk. The spectre of geopolitical tension, the constant threat of a domestic regulatory crackdown from Beijing, questions about data transparency, and critically, the new wave of US legislative risk like the Biosecure Act, which seeks to decouple American pharma from Chinese biotech manufacturing. This isn't a simple Faye good versus bad Faye comparison. This is a complex Faye risk versus reward Faye analysis. So let's meet the players, starting with the incumbents. First up for Team USA, the undisputed king, Pfizer, PFE. If Pfizer were a person, it would be the CEO of the entire industry post. COVID, thanks to Comirnaty, Pfizer is sitting on a mountain of cash so large it's almost a problem. Their strategy is clear, M&A. They just closed the $43 billion acquisition of Seagen to become a dominant force in oncology. Buying Pfizer isn't a bet on a single drug, it's a bet on their balance sheet. It's a bet that their management team can skillfully deploy over $100 billion to buy up the actual next Modernas, plug them into their global distribution network, and print money. It's a Faye dividend and acquisition Faye play. It is the Faye sleep well at night Faye blue chip of the sector. Next, we have Johnson & Johnson, J&J. And J is the diversified tank. They recently spun off their consumer health division, Kenvue, to focus on their 2 high-growth engines, pharmaceuticals and medical devices. This is a company that has a moat in everything. Their pharmaceutical arm, Janssen, has blockbusters in immunology, oncology and neuroscience. Their medtech arm dominates surgery and orthopedics. Buying J&J is a bet on the entire concept of healthcare spending. It's less volatile than a pure-play biotech, but its sheer size means it will never be the Faye NXT Moderna. Faye, it's the Faye NXT J&J Faye. It's a bet on demographic inevitability. An aging global population will need more drugs and more medical devices. Or a third giant is the benchmark itself, Moderna mRNA. This is the most controversial giant. Is it a one-hit wonder that rode a global pandemic to a $200 billion valuation, or is it the defining platform technology of the 21st century? The bull case is that their mRNA platform is a Faye factory, Faye for drugs. COVID was just proof of concept. Now come the real blockbusters, a combined flu-v-COVID vaccine, personalized cancer vaccines, rare disease treatments. The bear case is that the competition is here. COVID revenue has fallen off a cliff, and the market has already priced in a decade of flawless execution. Buying Moderna today isn't buying the 2020 lottery ticket. It's a high-stakes bet that the platform, not just the product, is the prize. Finally, for the US team, I'm picking Vertex Pharmaceuticals. VRTX Vertex is the Phay niche king. Phay, they represent a different kind of giant, one built on total, unassailable monopoly. Vertex has a 99% market share in treatments for cystic fibrosis CF. They functionally cured a disease from a financial perspective, and in doing so, created a multi-billion-dollar a year cash flow machine. The question for Vertex is, Phay what next? They are using that CF cash to fund moonshots in gene editing in partnership with CRISPR Therapeutics, type 1 diabetes, and even non-addictive pain medication. A bet on Vertex is a bet that a company with a perfect track record in one complex area can replicate that success in others. It's a high-quality, focused growth play, so that's Team USA, the bank, the tank, the platform, and the niche king. Now, let's turn to the challengers. These names will be less familiar, but that's where the alpha often lies. First for Team China is BeiGene BGene. This is the head-on competitor. BeiGene is listed on the Nasdaq in Hong Kong and in Shanghai. Their goal is not just to be the biggest biotech in China, their goal is to be a global pharma giant. Period. Their flagship drug, Brukinsa, a BTK inhibitor for blood cancers, is not just approved in China, it's approved in the US and Europe, and it's beating J&J's blockbuster Imbruvica in head-to-head clinical trials. This is not a fake me to Phay copycat drug. This is a Phay best-in-class Phay global competitor. BeiGene has a massive pipeline, deep partnerships with Western giants like Amgen and Novartis, and is spending billions on R&D. A bet on BeiGene is a bet that a Chinese company can go toe-to-toe with Pfizer on the global stage. It is the purest Phay China versus USA Phay bet in the sector. Second on the list is Zylab, also listed on Nasdaq, represents a different and arguably smarter model. They are the Phay Greek bridge. Phay, their core strategy is Phay licensing. They scour the Western biotech landscape for promising phase 1 or phase 2 drugs from European companies that don't have the cash or the know how to enter the complex Chinese market. Zylab buys the Phay China Phay rights, uses its local expertise to run trials and get fast-track approval from the NMPA, and then leverages its own sales force to commercialize the drug in China. It's a lower-risk R&D model. They are betting on their execution and market access skills, not just on basic research. They've had huge successes with this model, like Zejula from GSK for ovarian cancer. A bet on Zylab is a bet on the velocity of the Chinese healthcare market itself. Or a third challenger is my Phay picks and shovels Phay play, WuXi Biologics. WuXi isn't a drug company, it's the company that helps everyone else make drugs. It is a world-leading contract development and manufacturing organization, or CDMO. If you are a small US biotech and you just raised a $100 million Series B, you don't build a factory you call WuXi. They will help you with R&D, process development, clinical trials, and ultimately commercial scale manufacturing of your drug. Their model is brilliant. They are completely diversified. They don't care which drug wins. They get paid as long as the entire biotech industry is innovating. They are the Phay Intel inside Phay of global biotech. However, this also makes them a prime target. The proposed US Biosecure Act is aimed directly at companies like WuXi, threatening to block US companies from using their services. This stock is the ultimate Phay geopolitical risk versus business quality Phay conundrum. And fourth, for Team China, we have the moonshot Legend Biotech Legan. This is my candidate for the Phay closest to Moderna Phay in terms of explosive potential and binary risk. Legend is a leader in CAR, T-cell therapy, a revolutionary way to engineer a patient's own immune cells to fight cancer. Their first product, CARVYKTI, developed in partnership with Wait for it. Johnson & Johnson has shown absolutely staggering, best-in-class efficacy for multiple myeloma. We are talking about 90% plus response rates in patients who have failed every other treatment. This isn't an incremental improvement, it's a paradigm shift. A bet on legend is a bet on a single transformative platform. The risk is immense manufacturing CAR. T is incredibly complex and expensive, but the reward is a Nobel Prize level technology that could redefine cancer treatment. So there's the lineup. Now, how do we actually think about this? How do we decide Feiho to bet on Fei? This is the practical part of the analysis. If you're finding this framework useful, by the way, do me a solid and hit that like button. It tells YouTube I'm doing something right and helps me keep making these deep dives for you. When I compare these companies, I use a 4-factor framework. Factor 1, pipeline versus platform versus partnership. You have to know what you're betting on. Pfizer is a Fei partnership, Fei play. You're betting they can buy the right pipeline. Vertex is a Fei pipeline, Fei play. You're betting their CF-funded R&D finds the next big thing. Moderna and Legend are Fei platform, Fei plays. You're betting that mRNA or CAR-D is a repeatable engine for new medicines. WuXi is a Fei platform, Fei play of a different sort of services platform. Zai Lab is a Fei partnership, Fei play, betting they can pick the right Western partners. BeiGene is the only one trying to be all three, a deep internal pipeline, platform, partnerships, and a global sales force. This is the hardest road, but it has the biggest prize. You need to ask, do you want to bet on a single drug trial or a business model? Factor 2, the moat, IP, business model, and competition. A moat is what protects a company's profits. For US giants, the moat is their patent portfolio, backed by the US legal system. For Vertex, the moat is their total CF monopoly. For J&J, it's diversification. But what about Team China? BeiGene's moat is that its drug is clinically better than J&J's. That's a powerful moat. Zai Lab's moat is its relationship with a Chinese regulatory body, and its domestic sales force a face-off Fei moat that's hard for Westerners to replicate. WuXi's moat is its scale, its cost advantage, and its deep integration with thousands of clients. It's sticky. It's very hard to move your entire manufacturing process once it's set up. The question for WuXi is whether a US law can destroy that moat overnight. Factor 3, the market domestic versus global. This is a simple but profound question. Are you betting on a company that needs the world to win, or one that just needs its home market? Pfizer, J&J and Moderna need the global market to justify their valuations. Their US market is mature. Vertex has a lock on its global niche. Now, look at China. Zai Lab has a clear thesis, win China. That's it. With 1.4 billion people, a middle class that's larger than the entire US population. Fei winning China, Fei is enough to build a $100 billion company. BeiGene is playing the global game, which is harder but has a higher ceiling. WuXi is inherently global. Its clients are in Boston, San Francisco and Shanghai. This makes it powerful but also vulnerable, as its Fei feet Fei are in two geopolitical camps. Factor 4, the X factor, geopolitics. This is the elephant in the room, and it's a single most important discount factor for any Chinese stock. You cannot analyze WuXi or BeiGene the same way you analyze Pfizer. You must apply a Fei geopolitical discount, Fei the Bio. Secure Act is a perfect example. This bill, which has bipartisan support, could effectively ban US government agencies like the NIH and eventually US companies from doing business with WuXi Biologics and other Fei companies of concern. This is an existential threat. It doesn't matter if WuXi has the best technology at the best price if the US government forbids its use. Similarly, you have to worry about BeiGene. What if President Xi decides the biotech sector is making Feito much Fei money and launches a crackdown, like he did with the education and tech sectors? This risk is why these stocks often look Fei cheaper, Fei on paper. BeiGene's growth is faster than many US companies, but its valuation multiple is lower. That's the discount. The entire Fei bet on China Feidasis rests on this question: is this geopolitical risk already priced in, or is the fuse on the bomb about to be lit? So, who to bet on? I can't give you financial advice, but I can tell you how I'm thinking about this based on investor archetypes first. There's the fee sleep well at night, fee investor. This person wants steady, compounding growth and a dividend. The answer here is simple. Stay on Team USA, buy Pfizer, PFE, or Johnson & Johnson, J&J. You are betting on the £800 gorillas. You are betting on their balance sheets, their dividends, and their power to acquire the innovators. You will never get a 10 times return in a year, but you will almost certainly not lose 80% of your money. You will get your FAE next Moderna FAE exposure when J&J finishes buying Legend Biotech or when Pfizer buys a $20 billion gene editing company. Second, there's the FAE-smart alpha FAE investor. This person is looking for growth but wants to avoid the binary FAE drug trial fee risk. This is the FAE picks and shovels, FAE or Finnish King FAE approach. On the US side, this is Vertex, VRTX. You're not betting on their next drug, you're betting on their CF cash flow, funded process of innovation. On the Chinese side, this is WuXi Biologics, WuXi. You are betting on the entire global biotech R&D trend. The thesis is that someone will cure cancer and everyone will need WuXi to help manufacture it. But to make this bet, you must have a strong opinion on the Biosecure Act. You are making a specific bet that this political risk is overblown and that the market is irrationally punishing a high-quality global leader. This is my favorite kind of asymmetric bet, but the risk is sharp and specific. Finally, there's the FAE lottery ticket FAE investor. This is the person who really wants faithy next Moderna. This is a high-risk portfolio defining bet. On the US side, frankly, it's still Moderna, mRNA. The bet is that the COVID crash is a blip and the market is sleeping on the value of the mRNA platform for cancer and other diseases. On the Chinese side, the clear winner is Legend Biotech Legend. This is a pure play on a revolutionary technology card that has already been validated by a partnership with J&J and has shown best-in-class data. This company could be worth $200 billion, or it could be worth zero if they can't solve the manufacturing or if a competitor's next technology leapfrogs them. This is not investing, this is high-stakes speculation, and for that, you keep the position size small. So the Phoenix Moderna FAE isn't a single company, it's a risk profile. The real choice isn't just USA versus China. It's a choice between a fortress Pfizer, a niche monopoly, Vertex, a service platform, WuXi, or a moonshot Legend. The Chinese challengers offer a path to hypergrowth that is hard to find in the mature US market, but it comes with a non-negotiable side of extreme geopolitical risk that can turn your investment to dust overnight. Your job as an investor is to decide which game you want to play. I'm curious to hear your thoughts. What's your framework for this sector? Are you holding any of these names? And what's your thesis? What's the one geopolitical or regulatory risk that worries you the most? Drop it in the comments below. I read all of them. Thanks for watching.